again because we have some things to talk about regarding dresses. We are going into making sheath dresses along with my fashionistas group. Our shirt fittings will always continue because there's always so much to cover regarding shirts. And as I get new students who are willing to get on camera for you YouTube followers, then I'll let you see their bodies at the same time. But when you know, that's something that is not always easy to do. Know that I am working on having more body types. I have a curvy girl, which is my daughter, so she'll be on this video in a little bit. But I want to start off by showing you how to place your tape measure, your tapes on your body, which is what you see on me now. You probably could see it in the mirror right here. I'll move over so you can see everything. But in the mirror, you see that I have tape all around my body. I even have tape on my legs with black pins, and then the red is actually going to show you everything that you need to use to make the measurements for your body. Okay, here we go. I'm going to go ahead and put an upper body also, just so we'll have this, and that'll make it easier for y'all to see all the different measurements that I work with. And these are measurements that I have memorized. See if I can get this together here. I tried to have everything ready before I got on tape, because YouTube takes forever to upload. So I'm trying to keep this video really short. If I need to add to it, I'll add to it. So, I mean, right now I look like I'm strapped up, but this is very important. And of course, it's a scientific thing, so anybody that's need this information, utilize it. If you're not here for the fitting and pattern fitting, I hope you're learning something. Okay, I'm going to change the video so that you can see the whole body. Okay, I'm back again, and hopefully you can see my whole body. Maybe I'll stand back here. This is elastic on my body, and I'm going to explain to you the different areas of the elastic, and then the red line is my hip. Okay, so I'm going to straighten these elastics up so they're in the right place. I want everything to be level with the floor. Okay, try to make it level with the floor the best you can. And remember, you're doing this by yourself. So follow along with me, because this is what you have to do by yourself. So if you just get these numbers written down, this should make it easier for you. When I did the post on the New Look 6301, somebody asked me about how did I get the hem to be so even all the way around. And so we have the straight dress and we have the fitted dress. Well, this is the flared dress. Then we have the straight dress, and of course we have pencil skirts, A-line skirts, and all of them can be problematic for the more curvier person, or really anybody, higher in the back and lower in the front. So we want to make sure, if you don't, I don't have one of those things that spray at the bottom or do anything, and I don't have anybody that knows what to do for me. So let's get started to show you how to measure your body, keep these numbers, and you'll be able to utilize them for any dress or skirt that you make. These are the locations that I'm going to list. We have the Umpire Waist, which is where this goes, and everything radiates from your waist. Patterns are drafted for the waist. When the descriptions come to you, it will say either sit the waistline, the seam is above the waist, at the waist, below the waist, or umpire. Let's talk about how the patterns are described so that you can understand the different areas. We have the umpire waist, the above the waist just sits slightly above the waist, which is called high waist. Then we have our natural waistline. We have below the waist. Man, I stuck myself. We have below the waist, and then we have the hip. So the main reference points is going to be our waist, And then once we know these areas here outside of the waist, it'll help us judge what the description of the designer's idea was for fitting the pattern. So, say for instance, this one here, 8825. It says that it's a pullover tunic or dress, fitted front pleated bodice, raised waist. So this pattern, it has a raised waistline. So for me, anything that's above my waist, these are my comfort zones. Meaning, if I have a waistline anywhere here or here, I'm okay with that. If it's right in here, then it may bother me. So you have to determine where your waistline is and what is your sweet spot. Okay, I know my sweet spot, so you put them where you want them to be in proportion to your body. So this one says raised waist, which tells me that this pattern, here you go. You notice how she has her dress higher? That means the pattern sits higher than the natural waistline. Okay, so I look at her elbow. Even though this is a drawing, I know that the designer had in mind that that high waist will hit somewhere. All right, you see how this here is not umpire, but it's not at the waist. So it's considered high waist. Okay, so then we have another one that says line dress, fitted bodice, midriff. Midriff, side pockets, and hem. Now, let me talk about midriff. Midriff means that the section of the dress, here, let me show you. The section of the dress that goes middle of the body, okay, the section of the dress that goes middle of the body, midriff, means that the waistband is in the middle. So when you're dealing with a midriff, that means you're going to have three special areas. The three special areas are the higher waist, and slightly below the waist, which means that the waistline fits in the middle of that midriff. So it's taking up this area, meaning it's going to have a lower line and a higher line, and maybe nothing in the middle. But that means it's going to have three reference points that you have to keep in mind. The higher part of the waistband, really the midriff, is here. Then in the center of that, the pattern is going to show the waistline in the center. And below that is where the seam is going to be, creating a semi-dropped waist, which we'll call this one. And the drop waist is usually right there about 2 inches below the waist. So if you look at this section here, that's the section to consider. Okay, then here's another one, and I don't know, I picked up all midriff dresses. Line dress, side front, inset bands. That gives me an idea that that must be the waistband. That's all inset into the dress. So basically, that band, when they just say the word band, I got a feeling that that just means the waist, it sits at the natural waist and then goes down from there. That's a pretty dress. Here's another one that has a midriff. Midriffs make you look a lot smaller than, you know, especially if they have a seam at the natural waistband, at the natural waistline, and then they have these separate seams. This one here says loose fitting front line. Okay, it doesn't say anything about where the waist is, but you can tell from the drawing the line shows the waist. Okay, so that is some of the dresses. So let's move on to how to measure your body.